how can we believe that the Bible is true when we do not have the original autographs? And how can we trust them as reliable when the manuscripts have been rewritten over and over again, and some of them differ one from another?
So the issue here is really the integrity of the manuscripts as they've come down to us. The question is, if we don't have the original writings from the hand of the original writers, but we only have copies of copies of copies of copies, and that's what the manuscripts are. They are copies, many generations of copying removed from the originals. How can we trust them? The general argument goes like this. You know, if you pass along a story to somebody, and they pass it along to someone else, and they pass it along to someone else, the story gets changed a little bit every time it gets passed along, till maybe the 4th or 5th or 10th time it's told, it hardly bears any resemblance at all to the original. And they say that's sort of analogous to the way the Bible came down to us. It was, copied and copied and copied, and these copyists, they made sometimes some mistakes. And the mistake they made was sometimes carried over into the next generation, and then new mistakes were added by later copyists, until the cumulative effect of these mistakes makes the entire manuscript unreliable. Well, first of all, that's just not the way things are. I mean, it is true they were copied, and it is true that some mistakes were made. Scholars know that. There are thousands of manuscripts. That's not a hyperbole, that's the truth. There are, I believe, as I recall, 8,000 Greek manuscripts and about 5,000 early Latin translations, or the reverse. There's about 13,000 early manuscripts, or I should just say manuscripts, in Greek and early Latin that document what the New Testament contains. Now, there are mistakes that have entered into some of them, because you can see there's some differences, extremely minor differences. One thing that's really remarkable is how much these manuscripts do not differ from each other. You'll find a manuscript where there's a word missing, or a word misspelled, or a phrase missing. In some cases, a block of verses are missing, like the end of the Gospel of Mark, or a single verse, like that over in 1 John 5:7 or 5:8, and it's missing from some manuscripts. Okay, well, in that case, there may be some question. That's what the original said. But anyone who's going to throw out the Bible because of these few cases is missing the point entirely. The Bible repeats its message many different times. The story of Jesus, for example, is given in 4 different books. Many of the stories in the Bible are duplicated. In 2 Kings and 1 Kings, you have the stories that are found in 2 Chronicles. And the books of Samuel have the books that are in 1 Chronicles. There's repetition of stories in the Bible. As far as the teaching, the theology, really there's no question. If you look at all the manuscripts, they all teach the same theology. You've got a verse here missing or a verse there missing, but they're not going to impact the overall teaching of the Scripture. So if somebody's saying, well, I can't accept the Bible as a magic book where every word is, dictated by God, because we don't know if the words are exactly the same in our present manuscripts as they were in the original, I'll grant you that. I don't accept the Bible as a magic book that has all the words dictated by God either. What I consider the Bible to be is a reliably attested ancient set of documents written by people who knew what they were talking about. Some of them were prophets who were inspired by God. Some of them were eyewitnesses of the stories they record. Some of them were followers of Christ who saw and heard what he said and recorded it reliably. And this has nothing to do with being a magic book. The Bible is a bunch of ancient documents, very similar to the ancient documents of history we have from the Greeks. Herodotus, Thucydides, and so forth. We're Greek historians. We have their writings too. We don't require them to have exact, we don't have to have the exact words that were in the original in order to know whether we have a fairly reliable history, or at least a reliable record of the history as it was originally written. A few words here and there don't change the message. So if somebody says, well, I'm not going to believe the Bible because there's some words changed in some of the manuscripts, I guess I have to say, what is it that you're not believing about the Bible because of that? The only thing that would impact is I can't believe that the Bible has come down to us with no words changed. The question is, why would that matter? Unless the changes have somehow totally obscured the message. It's the message of the Bible It's the truth of the Bible. It's the story of Jesus and what he taught. Those are the things that are the value of the Bible. You know, if you want to throw out the Bible and try to say, well, I'm not going to believe in Jesus, I'm not going to care what he said, what he did, because I'm not satisfied that the manuscripts are as perfect as I'd like them to be, well, that's just stupid.